Hi, and thank you for joining another segment of Safe Space. Today with us, we have Lisa Desico. She is a licensed clinical social worker and a licensed chemical dependence counselor here at Community Health Network. Thank you for being here, Liz.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So today I'm going to be talking about boundaries, and I know that that's a lot, like a big topic that's on a lot of people's minds and hearts, and especially when coming to counseling, I know a lot of people talk about it. How can I have better boundaries, maybe with my family or friends? How can I say no when I want to? So we're going to try to for just a few of those things, just to hopefully provide a little bit of help when it comes to those issues. So when we talk about boundaries, I think it's important to kind of define what a boundary is. And I have a good definition that I really like from an author, and her name is Nedra Glover Tawwab. And she actually wrote a book about boundaries that we're going to put up for you at the very end, so you can see the title there. Yes, the Set Boundaries, Find Peace. So her quotation is that boundaries are expectations and needs that make you feel safe and comfortable in relationships. So they make you feel safe, comfortable in relationships. They build trust. They help you feel like you're going to be okay with that person. You can build things with them, and I think that's a really important definition to have. And then also, once you know what boundaries are, you really want to look at what your values are. So, and the reason why you want to kind of clarify what values are important to you is just because then you know where to draw your attention to with your boundaries. So whether it be like with family, friends, what's most important to you. So another good resource that I'm going to be mentioning today several times is the therapistaid.com, and that's where you can actually find the values clarification list. So this is where you can look at and actually rate from 1 to 10 what values are most important. They have spirituality on here, they have love, family, responsibility, fun, loyalty, respect. I know respect's very important to a lot of people. Peace. How much do you value those things, and where would you place them? And that can kind of give you kind of like a clue to where you would like to have your boundaries be. So another important thing that I think Nedra brings up, like in her book, that she talks about is that poor self-care, feeling overwhelmed, can actually, those types of feelings that we can associate with depression too, can actually be a sign of boundary issues. She talks about this can come from when we start to feel resentful. We don't maybe set the limits that we'd like to set with others. We can start avoiding people, feeling burnt out, want to maybe disappear from being around a lot of people, dropping things, just overall maybe avoidance, because we're starting to have some bitterness, resentment towards others. So what I'm going to also be talking about today too when it comes to boundaries is communication. It's a big part of boundaries, and I am going to discuss the 3 different types of communication, and then focus in on the type of communication that we want to focus on when it comes to boundaries. So there's 3 types of communication that I mentioned, and there's passive communication, aggressive communication, and assertive communication. And assertive is actually the type of communication that we want to focus on when it comes to boundaries. So passive communication is kind of on this extreme. So that's when we're not really very very loud. We're very quiet when we're talking about maybe our needs, and it's very hard for us to talk about our needs. We don't have a lot of eye contact. We may look away, look down, and sometimes we can even allow others to kind of take advantage. So that's what passive communication is. We don't really focus on our needs, and our needs don't really get met. And then on this end, we have aggressive communication. So that type of communication can be much more vocal. When someone is easily frustrated, they may be unwilling to compromise at all. They may be disrespectful, and they could interrupt the other person. So this type of communication focuses more on the self. So it focuses on their needs, but it completely ignores the other person's needs. And then we have the type of communication that I mentioned that we really want to have is the assertive, so falling right in the middle. And that's the type of communication where we can listen, right? We can listen to the other person's needs. We can clearly state our own needs and wants. Very important to be able to do that. We're willing to compromise. We can stand up for our rights. We can have confident body language. We can look the person in the eye. We can speak to them, have that good eye contact. So that's really where we want to fall, right in the middle there as much as possible. And obviously this is something that does take practice, and it's not always easy, but it can be helpful. So one scenario that they give on the therapistaid.com with the passive aggressive and assertive communication is that a friend may ask to borrow a car, and that this really is something that doesn't work for you at all. So the example that they give about passive communication is that the person would say, that's fine, that's okay, do you need me to get gas too? The aggressive person would say, no, why would I do that? You're crazy, what are you thinking? And then the assertive, the kind of communication that we want to have. I need my car that day, but I can give you a ride. So they talk about their needs, what they're willing to do, what they're not willing to do, and they're willing to compromise. So they can still kind of clearly state their needs. So I hope that helps and gives you guys some good examples of just assertive, aggressive, and passive communication. And another very helpful, I think, tool when it comes to boundary issues or helping us clarify our needs in an assertive way is using I statements. So when we use I statements, this can really help us be able to talk about our feelings and just have it come across in a way that isn't blaming or shaming to the other person, but we're still getting our needs met. So I statements are just using like an I feel and an emotion word, and then when some type of explanation. So if we were to use like a blaming type of statement, we would say something like, you can't keep coming home, it's rude. When you come home so late, it's rude. The I statement would say something like, I feel worried when you come home so late. I worry, and then I cannot sleep. So you're talking about your own feelings. You're talking about your how you feel, and you're still passing across, what's bothering you. But it's not in a blaming way, that type of thing. Another good example is where the blaming version is, you never call me, I guess we just won't be friends anymore. We won't talk anymore. Using the I statement would be saying, I feel hurt when you don't call for so long. I worry about us not being close anymore. So it's just kind of sharing your feelings, your thoughts and concerns without blaming the other person. So I definitely hope that's helpful as well. And I'm also going to be talking about a couple more things just to help us pass our message across in healthy ways with healthy boundaries. So, ways to say no is one. And I know that a lot of people ask me, how can I say no? How can I say no? I feel guilty. I feel bad. And I think it's just important for us to remember that we are not responsible about how the other person is feeling, right? We're just responsible for our thoughts and actions. And by using the assertive communication, we're doing in a way that voices them are what we want or need, but it's not disrespectful or rude. So um, ways to assertive ways to say no. That sounds great, but I'm not available then. I just can't do it. I'm honored that you would ask me, but I'm not able to do it that day. I'm sorry, but I can't help you at this time. Unfortunately, it's not a good time for me. I'm not available, but maybe another time. And unfortunately, that's not something I can do right now. I really appreciate you asking me, but I can't commit to that right now. I'm sorry I can't make it. Maybe another time. Thanks for thinking of me, but I can't. No, thank you. So those are all ways, helpful ways to be able to say no when you need to. Even though I know that it's not always easy, but remember, right, with practice, we can practice in the mirror, we can practice with family and friends. We can practice, we can get better at it. Even if it's not our strength now, it's something that we can focus on in the future. And then lastly, some more good examples of what healthy boundaries can sound like for us is so I can stay for a half an hour at the party, but I can't stay all day. So you're telling the person what you're willing to do and what you're not able to do. You're kind of letting them know. I will end this phone conversation if you continue to yell at me. So you're just kind of assertively telling them what you're not willing to accept. Thank you for your offer. Unfortunately, I can't make it. I'm not comfortable discussing that. Please don't discuss that with me. I need some time to think about it. I'll come back to you tomorrow, or it could be next week, right? You always have the right to be able to say, I need time to think about that. Or you have the right to say, I've changed my mind. I'm not, able to do that right now. So another one is I don't respond to work emails during the weekend. That's my family time. Those are some of those values that we talked about earlier that person, really values. And I'm not comfortable with that. If you do it again, I have to leave. I'm just not comfortable. And also, I respect your opinion, but this is my life, and this is what I've decided to do. So, just some good examples. I really hope those are helpful when it comes to just healthy boundaries. And just remember, like I said earlier, it's something that we can all practice and get better at. We're all human, so it all takes time, practice, work when it comes to relationships with family, friends. And we can go ahead and maybe show the book again in the website, thetherapistade.com, and I hope those are helpful for you guys.
So I am placing right now the um, website.
Awesome. So that's
I
there.
go ahead. Oh, so it seems like you were frozen for a little bit.
Oh no.
Yes. I don't, um, I'm sorry, you were going to say something and it froze, but you can go ahead.
So that's there for you, those two resources. A lot of great resources on boundaries on therapistaid.com. The book is a great resource too when it comes to boundaries and relationships.
Great. From what because I'm learning today, so creating boundaries, it seems like a way to self-care, self-love, take care of yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I know that, especially in the book, she talks a lot about how it can just leave us feeling very burnt out, overwhelmed, when we're not able to kind of set some of those limits that are us. So I think very, very important.
Great. Before you guys go, so I have an announcement. We will be having a Dutch for a Cause. It's our annual fundraiser, and we're going to be raising funds for mental health in our community. So please visit our website. We'll be accepting donations as well. If you would like to donate any products for the live fundraiser, that will be great as well. Um, and if you would like to join, if you'd like to sign up for a team, go ahead, go to our website. There will be information there. It will guide you through registration. And remember, this is for the mental health of our community. So thank you for joining another segment of Safe Space. Stay tuned for next week. We'll be having another segment. Thank you, Liz. This was great.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye bye.